I'd like to take a moment to thank my channel members for your continued support. Thank you, and consider joining today for added perks and exclusive content. Hello and welcome, I'm Bert the Stormtrooper, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Shogun Warriors GAIKING, and I love this toy. Originally released in 1977, he retailed for approximately $15, which is huge considering how much money these guys fetch in today's market. So this is yet another one of those Shogun Warriors that I found a couple of months ago at a show. They were all in a bin underneath the table. They were marked as junkers or for parts. And I ended up working out a deal, and I bought the whole bin. And I've been working on restoring these guys for the last couple of months. I've had a lot of fun restoring these guys. I've got a couple that I've made. I got one that I made a custom out of. I have another custom that I'm working on. They're a lot of fun to work on. They really are. Just cleaning them up and just hunting down replacement parts for them and just sourcing out like stickers and sometimes reproductions if you need reproductions, and just kind of putting these guys back together again is actually a lot of fun. There's a really cool community with these guys that I've come to know, and then the final piece, the displays, they look so impressive up on the shelf when they're all together up there. They just look so good, and it's definitely a talking point whenever we have people over and they see those, considering that they were from the 70s. A lot of the grown-ups that come through this house, they recognize them, right? So it makes a great talking piece. Fantastic figures to collect. If you got the time, if you got the money, and you got the patience, these are a lot of fun. These are fun, very fun projects. So GAIKING right here, also based on Toei animation from way back in the 70s, and he looks a little bit of a departure from the way he looked in the show, right? We got in the show he had like this big black torso with like a gold skull on him, and he had these big red wings. What we got here, the American version, is a little bit of a departure from what we saw in the show. The entire torso is done in yellow. In the skull, there's really no definition between the torso and the skull, so it just kind of looks like he's got this smiley face, this goofy smiley face on his chest, and it's goofy in all the best ways, and he's just absolutely adorable and lovable because of it. He measures approximately 24 inches tall. He's 2 feet tall, just like the rest of these Shoguns. They're absolutely massive. It's all made out of plastic, so these guys were light and easy to carry. These were great for kids to just pick up and play with these. He's got the wheels on the bottom, just like all the other Shoguns did, so you can roll these guys around and just kind of have your adventures. And yeah, just kind of going all the way around so you can see what he looks like. Again, he's a departure from the original design. He's kind of goofy looking, admittedly, but I find him adorable. I absolutely love the way this guy looks. Articulation wise, he does a little more than some of the other Shoguns we've looked at before. With Raideen, the head on Raideen didn't turn out. I didn't really bring this up in Raideen's review. Mazinger's, they can turn the head. Raideen couldn't, but GAIKING here, he can turn his head, so you can turn his head side to side. The horns are also, you can rotate these if you'd like. This is kind of a carryover feature from his Japanese counterpart. I'll talk about that in a moment. The arms are a little different. So his left arm can go forward and backward and rotate all the way around, and then of course you can rotate the fist. Because the fists are detachable, you can take these off and throw them. And all of these Jumbo Machinders and Shoguns, they all had kits that you could get. This wasn't really a thing here in the US, but in Japan for the Jumbo Machinders, there was all these kits that you could get for weapons, add-on weapons for these guys, and you would just pop a fist out, put another launcher in for something, and that's what you would do. So the fact that this is removable also makes it where you can rotate it. Now his right arm is a little different. So the right arm can rotate at the shoulder, forward and backward, all the way around, just like that arm over there. However, he's got a ball-jointed elbow, so you can actually bend them at the elbow. This is the only one that you can do this with. You can bend the elbow, and because it's on a ball joint, you can, turn it in and out a little bit. You can kind of play around with this a little bit, right? Which is really, really neat. Now, he does have a rocket punch. You can probably notice that red button right there. So you can press that, and it's going to launch quite strong. I think I say this in every one of these reviews, but I'm always amazed by how strong these springs still are. 40 plus years old, and these things still will fire across the room if I let them. I'm afraid of old plastic cracking, so I kind of try to catch them. But yeah, these things will fly across the room if you let them. Very powerful springs. They still work amazingly well. So that's kind of the gimmick there with the right arm. Before I get into the missiles, because the missiles are hysterical, let's talk about his Japanese counterpart. So in the show, he had this thing where he kind of converted into this like giant floating skull, like a fortress or a vehicle kind of a thing. The Japanese version did that somewhat, right? So the Japanese version, the Machinder had it completely, the mold, there's a lot of differences in the mold, almost completely different mold. So you could start from the bottom and just work our way up. The stars on the shins right here, in the show, these were weapons that he could take off. So the Japanese version, these are actually bigger and removable, and they come all the way up to his thigh, like they did in the show. The torso was completely different. So what the torso could do, it had a somewhat of a transforming gimmick, right? The torso could actually open up. So you could actually open up the skull, and there was additional missile storage inside of the skull. So you could actually do that. You could remove the arms, and then I don't remember if the head was removed or if the head tucked in. I know Grandizer had a neck joint that you could move his neck up and down. I don't remember if Gaiking could move his head up and down or if you just removed the head altogether. But you would, the head would go away. You would take off the horns and you would plug them where the shoulders used to be, and there's your giant skull mode. So obviously this does none of that. This is just a static figure representing what he looked like on the show. We didn't even get wings for him, but we did get a lot of launching gimmicks. So we got the missile punch, as you saw just now, or the rocket punch. And then we also get his missiles right here on his chest. If you look around the back, he's got a little lever right here. And the way this one works is you move the lever left or right to shoot the missiles left or right. They're not both going to shoot at the same time. So if I move the lever to the left, his left missile fires across the room. And if I move the lever to the right, his right missile fires. And then you've got extra missiles up here on the shoulders. So you could take one of these from up here and just pop it right there, and you're reloaded and ready to go again. So that's how that would work. Yeah, a lot of fun to be had with these figures again. Because they're so light and they had all these launching gimmicks, these was just perfect kid toys back in the 70s. A couple of quick comparisons just because I got them right here. Mazinger is my guy. This was my, well, not this guy specifically, this guy, which is the predecessor to this guy, was my childhood robot. So I always got Mazinger nearby. So you can see what these guys look like together. They're from the same line. They're going to be about the same size. And I like to do comparisons with G1 Scorponok, just because G1 Scorponok, if you're not a regular to my channel, this was the biggest Decepticon released in the US. There was bigger ones in Japan, but in the US, Decepticons, he was the biggest one. For the Autobots, we got Fortress Maximus, which was the same height as these guys. But yeah, with this guy being the biggest Decepticon US released, you can see he's only half as tall as this guy, completely dwarfed by him. And I just find that to be such a cool contrast right there. So yeah, again, I've been having a lot of fun restoring these guys, just collecting them and restoring them, bringing them back to their original glory, and putting them up on display. They're just such beautiful pieces to display. If you've got the time, if you got the money, you got the patience, these are very, very fun projects. And I think that about does it for the Shogun Warriors GAIKING. What did you think of this figure? Let me know down in the comments. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified when I upload a new video. I've got a donate button up there. I also now offer channel memberships. If you're so inclined to do either one of those, I would greatly appreciate it. Please share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time. 悪を打つ人の